material and nail polish remover.
Time to meet the relatives.
We knew we could build a really realistic city and really incredibly realistic cars, but we used to build characters the same way we'd always done in games. So you get a few character sketches, and then an artist started modelling them, and they tended to come out kind of stylised in a way, and that didn't really sit in the city. So we went out to just about every company in the world and we said, this is what we want to do. We want to have 5 actors in a scene at any one time. We want to capture their hand motions and we want to be able to use props. And we did test, and the only way we could do the most of that was using a magnetic motion capture system. Optical systems, which had lots of limitations compared to using a magnetic motion capture system. You know, like you don't get occlusions where their legs are under a desk and then you can't see them.
Frame 3, part 2, take 3.
I think the first couple of days were hilarious and really funny, and you kind of had to really dig deep to get into character. But after a while, you just totally forgot about the suits that you had on and acted.
I hurt people, old friends of mine, and that ain't enough for you, is it? I've done what you asked. I want my kid back.
From the research we did on the motion capture, we knew there was no good way of capturing people's facial expressions or their lip sync, either in optical or magnetic. So we recorded the live audio of what they were saying. We used that to drive a system we call talking heads, which we wrote ourselves. That extracts people's phonemes. And then we have a facial animation system, and that takes those phonemes and applies it to someone's face. So that was kind of the icing on the cake, really, because we got the body motion capture, the hand expressions, and then we got the expressiveness of people's faces. And with their voices at the same time.
Put me down! Stop struggling!
We had another guy to play Charlie's character, and he was older than Ricky, but he wasn't a great actor. So we got Ricky to read that part, and he read it brilliantly. So we thought it would be quite easy to just make him older on the computer, and it turned out to be really, really hard. So we went down the more traditional route of having him sculpted and then aged up that way, and then we rescanned that model to get him in the game. What you have to do is you take the actor and they put this stuff called alginate on your head, which is like the stuff that they use to make molds of your teeth. And it starts out soft and gooey, but it sort of dries up pretty quickly. And then to stop that deforming, they put a plaster cast, just like if you've broken your leg, right around your head, and then you've got to sit there for an hour or so and let it all cook and dry off. And all this time you can't see a thing, and you've got 2 straws up your nose to breathe.
I'm claustrophobic. I don't like being locked in. I can control myself, but I'm kind of like, I don't like it. And after about 15 minutes, I could feel it coming. It comes away from your face. The rubber kind of moves away, and you can move your face inside the mask. I started to move my face, and the silly thing I tried to do, I opened my eyes. But you can't open your eyes, and then I realised I was trapped, and I panicked, and I just wanted to tear it off.
Then the next process is they fill that full of plaster of Paris, and they get a model of you that looks like you do now, and then you get a sculptor who basically starts to age you up, make your ears get bigger, making your nose get longer.
Hear me? Are you listening now, Marky boy? Put him in the chair.
To see me as an older man, but with my emotions and my voice, that's different, and that's a little scary sometimes. I just hope I don't look like when I'm older.
Oh, it's horrible. Absolutely, I'm probably going cold. I'm not going to look like that. You won't?
Once you've had a spring clean, tied up all the loose ends, you'll be safe to walk the streets of London again. We'll meet at the boat.
From that point, it was just logical to get actors who would be the character, both in game, so you can play that character, but also use them in the cinematic sections, use them for their voices and then promotion as well. So it just seemed to be the logical evolution of what we're trying to do with the game. And for us, it meant a movie that you can actually play.
I don't want any excuses, Hammond. Just do the job if you want to see your kid alive.
As far as we know, it's the most accurate recreation of a real city in any game or any entertainment product ever.
There's all the touristy spots, like, for example, Piccadilly, Leicester Square, as a Parliament. But what we wanted to do with our version of London was also show the kind of the seedier side of it. And this was done deliberately to kind of get across the gangster sort of side of it.
So we've got the south of the river, we've got all the seedy backwaters, alleys, dingy, unpleasant bits of London as well.
Now the guy who was actually making the roads took reference from an ordnance survey map, so we could get all the angles of the road correct, the slopes, the hills, the dips.
So everything's accurate, it's built off the real roads. 1 foot is 1 foot, 1 metre is 1 metre, a mile is a mile.
We have 18 interiors based on locations which really exist. So the guys go there and they take their 10,000 photographs of every square inch, the walls, the rats, the pipes, the ducting, the lot, and we bring it all back. The guys scan them in, they build up 3D Maya models from the sketches. So we try to create believable environments that you do believe that you are in a brothel, you are on a ship, or you are, you know, in a police station, that sort of thing. No one's ever gone to the detail that we've done in the production values of this. This is the closest thing to film without being filmed.
Bring them all down, we'll massacre them all, okay?
If you're going to make a really realistic city, we've got to concentrate really heavily on the cars. We've got about 60 cars in the game, and we went out and approached a lot of manufacturers and said to them, this is the type of game we're making, and this game isn't about the cars, this is about a city and an action story. But, you know, all of your cars are currently in the streets of London.
We tried having quite a cross-section of cars, so we've got some sporty cars, we've got things like Lexuses and BMWs in there. But if you look around London, it's not all souped-up cars, there's a lot of gritty cars there, cars with bumps and knocks in them, and I think we tried sort of getting that in the game.
So if you're in a richer area of London, like Mayfair or something, we choose more expensive cars to populate that area. And in the poorer areas, we have simpler cars. So as you're driving around, you should get a complete variation of cars. And different cars would definitely give you an edge in certain situations. If you're in a high-speed chase, you're being chased by the police, you obviously want a nice fast car. If you steal a taxi or something, that's a slow car, but it's got really good manoeuvrability, so it can turn on the spot, which is good if you want to be twisting in and out of the streets and things like that. So the approach to the game has been more like a movie, because we use realistic city and really incredibly realistic cars. We're making a movie that you could actually play. Well, we took inspiration not just from other games, but we also took a lot of inspiration from 20 years worth of English gangster films. Get Carter, The Long Good Friday with Bob Hoskins and Michael Caine, and then right up to Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels.
The game's set in London, and there's two protagonists. So there's Mark Hammond, who's an ex-gangster, and Frank Carter, who's a copper. And the story begins as Mark wakes up in his apartment, and he hears screams coming from downstairs, and it's his wife. And he runs out, and his wife's been murdered in the street. Has no idea why, and his son's just been bundled into a car that's screeching around the corner.
Go, 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 go!
Then the backstory comes, and you realise that Mark's actually been in London's crime underworld, and now he's being dragged back into that lifestyle by Charlie Jolson.
You're in no position to be making demands. What's this all about, Charlie? I thought you'd retired. You know I have. Make the boy listen.
Well, one of the things we tried to do with this game is to make the story stand up, you know, compared to a film, and that's difficult because traditionally in games the story tends to get in the way of the gameplay. So we make the gameplay work first, and then have the narrative wrap around that. So that's a bit of a different way to go about writing a story.
You think that playing as Mark Hammond, say, this guy's going to be a little bit of a dodgy geezer, perhaps not very moralistic. In fact, Mark Hammond plays the game for very moral reasons, to get his son back. Then you go to the other side of the law, and Frank Carter, who you assume is going to be the good guy figure, is a little bit dodgy in his ways, because even though he's playing as the right side of the law, he'll do anything to get his guy, if you like. Charlie Jolson, he would be your arch nemesis. Mark has had links with Charlie in the past, and you don't really find out until the end of the game why Charlie's doing this to Mark in particular. Yasmin's the game's hit woman. She's a professional now, she's been a trained killer. She was one of Charlie's girls, and he saw how she had a violent streak to her and decided to train her for other purposes. The very fact that we've got people that are very integral to the story side of this game, actually within the team and working with the team, means that the storyline's never forgot, it's never missed, it's never tagged on. It pushes the game forward. It's just like watching an hour worth of gangster flick within a game.
Our approach really has kind of been evolutionary. We kind of think that there's a future in games as a kind of new medium that's going to be as important in this century as films were in the last century. When we started out, we made a lot of decisions to try and do what we thought would be the future of games. One of the things we tried to not do is what we call screen litter, and that's just lots of things on the screen that take you out of the game. So we figured if you watch a movie and someone gets hurt, then you know they get hurt because you see them get shot. When someone's hurt, when they've been shot in the arm, then they hold their wound.
One of the nice things, and a very brave thing I think we've done, is that we have no real map. We use the car, which is your main focus of attention when you're driving, and we use the indicators on that to tell you to go left, to go right. It doesn't tell you which road to go down, so you're not really being that restricted. London's quite a big place, it's got a lot of roads in there, you can go wherever road you want. You can pretty much get into every single car in the game. Every vehicle you can see, if you can stop it, you can get in that car. So you can drive things like buses, ambulances, anything really. But anything you can see, you can drive.
And we've got, true oversteer and true understeer in this game. Most cars will oversteer like the movies, like big American movies where the rear end goes out and they're hanging out around the corner, but cars, when they understeer, they actually steer less when you lift off the throttle. So we have that with a lot of European cars in front wheel drive.
We have a very accurate damage model for the game. Basically, no two crashes are the same because we calculate the damage in real time.
It allows us to have about 25 different properties for the cars. But one of the nice things is that these things deteriorate through the game. So if you are driving like a maniac and you'll crash into a lot of things, your handling will deteriorate.
The engine goes up in smoke, all the windows in the car smash as well. Just to, we just try to be as realistic as possible in that department.
One of the things we wanted to try and avoid is that you needed to press every button to do the moves in the game. And that's because we want to get to a movie audience as well. We want people who watch movies but might not play the game to just pick it up and give it a go. So we have two control systems, one for driving, and then we have the game controls, which we can steer the character around using one analog stick.
So if you're next to a wall, you'll go into stealth. In stealth, you can creep along the wall, and as you get to reach the end of the wall, rather than having another key press to do some lean out maneuver, we just push right on the stick, and the guy will lean out. You can do a lean out, then a shoot, a lean out, then a roll. Just put in very sort of simple key presses. I think very early on we made a conscious decision to keep the weaponry as real as possible, as real as it is in London. So we don't have things like flamethrowers or grenade launchers.
When you start off with block automatic pistols, and they have 21 shot clips, and generally throughout, either the cops or the villains carry those guns. But sometimes you can pick up shotguns, and shotguns got 5 shots in your clips. If you pick up an AK-47, I think it's got 32 rounds.
if the player wants to pick up a shotgun, say, when he's already carrying 2 pistols, he has to holster his pistols before picking up some of the bigger weapons.
And you don't have to go to a menu and then select, you know, what sort of gun. If there's a gun there on the ground and you run past it, he'll bend down and pick it up.
We have quite a nice little system for the AI. It's pretty free roaming. It's allowed to travel anywhere on the map, basically. So if you're in a location, you interact with some AI and he's after you and you leg it, he'll follow you. And he finds a point of cover and you're attacking him, he'll duck. I think that gives you a nice sort of feel. The AI has hierarchies, so they have different grades of baddies. If you take a lowly thug hostage, they probably won't have much of an effect. If you take a sergeant major and the equivalent thing for a yardie, people below his level will think twice before they shoot you, rather than just storming in. They'll get defensive, they'll try not shooting you, and then until you let go of that guy. It's quite a nice slant on how the missions play out.